Okay, without further ado, welcome to the Daily Dose of Healing.
Mhm.
Today is a bit of an extended um, dose, I would say, because normally I do my doses in bite-sized little chunks on Instagram. But because we are in a really energetic time, I wanted to have a bigger conversation about manifestation. Inside my Amplify Mastermind, the theme this month is also manifestation and the Lionsgate portal. So I brought my dear, dear friend Kristina here to have this conversation about manifestation. So,
Thank you. Thank you for having me. You know, this is one of my favorite topics. So I'm so excited to be here.
yay! All right. So start with telling us a little bit about, well, yourself, and then also what realizations you just had recently.
Mm. Well, my name is Kristina Mira Maharaj, and I have been on this more mystical path for over 20 years. And I've been doing energy work and personal development. I think that's key. I really started with personal development at a young age. Like when I was 14, I just couldn't take in enough books, courses, content, like books at that time, and eventually, videos and everything else. I remember buying a box set from Tony Robbins. Like that's that's how long ago it was. Um, and then I moved into more of the mystical aspect of things as I, started to practice Reiki and started to see energy. And I could kind of see how the two really went together with everything I learned about how we can condition our mind to then the what we don't see in in the space in the space all around us. And again, by working with clients, I can see in them also when they expand, when they're open, when they're receptive, and then when they close, and when there's disease, and when there's like restriction but also desperation. And then from there, I've developed courses and content and then my own life experience, to just kind of prove these concepts that I'm noticing and seeing. So every single day we're manifesting. We are materializing. That is literally our place here on this earth, our beings of creation. When I take my clients or my students through any sort of energetic practice, we always start by grounding into Mother Earth and really syncing our energy, merging our energy, and then we open up to Father Sky. And this is how we term it. This I think is a really great way to look at it, because when we open ourselves to Mother Earth and to Father Sky, when we're grounded in our energy and we're open to divine inspiration and creativity, then we realize that we are the child, the divine child of creation where heaven and earth meet. And it's through us that we create all things, we materialize all things. So it comes from that embodiment that we get from the earth, all of the substance. And then we have all of, again, that idea, inspiration, creativity. Everything is possible when we're looking up at a night sky, or when we're in a plane looking down, like everything seems so small. It's like this is our role as walking beings on this earth, just that divine touch point. And so I think that is a really great place to start, for everyone that's even listening to this, to take a moment to connect in whatever way you know how, to connect down, to connect upwards, and then be in this place of, oh, yes, I remember my placement here, who I am, what I'm connected to. Um, the other thing, and we know this, what I'm about to say is not revolutionary. This has been told to us again and again and again and again. but the energy of gratitude, and this is what I just saw it in a different way in my client yesterday. The energy of gratitude allows us to open in a way that we don't necessarily walk around with regularly if that's not our set point. So really feeling the gratitude, not just not just keeping it up in our heads of I'm grateful for this and I'm grateful for this. I should be grateful for that. We do that a lot to ourselves. I should be grateful for this. I should be grateful. But like actually finding a place in your body of authentic gratitude and allowing that to just start like a little spark and catch fire and shift everything. Because when we're grateful, I say the gratitude is just an acknowledgement of everything we've already been blessed with. So we're already in an abundant state because we already have something to be grateful for, whether it's just for your breath, you were able to breathe today with ease. It doesn't have to be like, oh, look at my 7 luxury cars. We don't have to push ourselves into that level. We can just really start to look for the very small things. I'm so grateful for, this cup of clean water, of warmth, of deliciousness, of my ability to see like all of the greenery behind me, like all of these little things as we can fine tune our perception into a state of gratitude, then we see we already have so much. And then so having more direction with what we want doesn't seem so difficult because we're like, oh my gosh, I already have so much. What's one more thing?
I love that. And I also see how we're such good friends because I also started with Tony Robbins.
I love
I
that
went to
guy.
the library, borrowed all the books, listened to all the things, went to
Mhm.
unleash your potential with it, fire walked, all of that. So
Amazing. I've never actually been to one of his live sessions, but I I love his teachings. And one of my coaches that I worked directly with for years, she was like uh, one of his he has like 50, or back then he had like 50 students that he would mentor directly. And she was one of them. So she, like, every time she'd come out of a training, she'd be like, this is what he said. This is what just happened. So I feel like I've gotten so much from him. He's really awesome.
that's great.
Hmm.
And I really love the reminder to bring yourself back into this moment. And when you were talking about gratitude, I think that's what it does is it allows us to anchor into right now because you're looking for and searching for what is it that I am aware of right now that I am have an abundance of already,
Hmm.
right? And then we're just bringing more of that, like you said. So we're not creating because we are creating all the time, we're manifesting all the time, but it is from which um, what frequency are you doing that with? And who are you
Right.
being while you're manifesting? And when you bring the awareness, the gratitude in, it brings that awareness. And so you're manifesting from consciousness as opposed to being unconscious.
Right. And I think another thing that really trips people up when they enter the realm of manifestation, or they attempt to manifest, is they don't know what they want. I think that's the a big, big, big thing, is that people don't necessarily know what they want truly, or are afraid to admit what they want. And so their ask, their direction, because it really isn't like, oh, can you please grant me this? It's really a directional focus of energy. You're deciding that this is coming into your life. And so you start opening yourself to receive that thing. When we think of it as like a genie granting us a wish, then we're like, what do I ask for? But a lot of times we don't really know what we want, or we're afraid to admit what we want. And so we end up piggybacking on someone else's wants. Oh, well, they seem happy, they look good, so I'm gonna try to get this too. Or we think we have an idea of like, okay, well, I need this and it needs to come in this specific way in order for me to believe. Like, the belief happens when it's not there. That's why it's belief.
Yes, that's super important that the faith happens or belief before
Yes.
it arrives because we're taught, okay, I want to see the evidence first. Where's the evidence that shows me that this works? And once I have the evidence, I am going to believe, I'm going to have faith, right? But that's not
Yeah.
what faith is.
Yeah. So the other, that exercise that I shared of first grounding down to Mother Earth and then opening up and connecting to Father Sky and just sitting in that, that also helps to ground our energy and allow us to get back into the center of ourselves, not just realizing who we are on a greater scale, but like into the center of ourselves. So then we can sit with our wants. Say we make a list of all the things we want and say, is this really what I want right now? Is this really what I want right now? Is this really what I want right now? And decide, just pick a few things. And another exercise that I think is really great, just to merge what we were talking about just prior, was make your list of wants, weed out what you actually don't really want, and refine what you do want based on your own, take some time to do that, and then make your gratitude list of things that you have again right now in this moment. Look around. Wow, I'm in, a house. Thank you. And whatever it is, make your list of like 50 things that you're grateful for. If you can't find 50 things, do less. But plug in the things that are on your want list so that you're already in the vibration of, I have it. There's proof. I have this computer right in front of me. I'm so grateful for this working computer. I'm so grateful for this water. I'm so grateful for whatever I'm also bringing in, calling in, because then you're already in this energetic field of gratitude. And I already have it, that as these things slip in, they're just telling the subconscious mind they're already yours. It's already, thank you, I already have this. Thank you for what I already have, as opposed to, and I still have these things that are on my request, on my to get, to obtain list.
And
Hmm.
I also like to add to that is when you're looking at trying to figure out what you really want, why do you want what you want? Like, what is
Hmm.
the feeling that you are trying to achieve or receive or feel in getting what you want? So you're like, oh, I want $1 million to fall out of the sky. Okay, well, why do I want to do that? Oh, because
Yeah.
I will feel free, or I will feel, or I will be able to buy XYZ. Like, why? Like, what's
Why?
the feeling?
It's so important. And often I manifest from the feeling. I like to be delightfully surprised by the universe. I'm like, wow, I'm so pleasantly surprised that this just happened. I love witnessing the miracle. I love being surprised. It's like, just being pampered. It feels like being pampered to me. So I don't specifically ask for things all the time. I'm not like focused on specifics, but rather than the feelings, I can't wait to feel, that more than enough feeling. Like I have more than enough. I have more than enough time to do the things that I want. I have more than enough support. I have more than enough love in my life. I have more than enough money to do whatever I want. Money doesn't hold me back. Like all of these things that I call into my life and I experience. And I'm like, wow, it's so exciting how this just showed up. And, it's fun because then I couldn't have planned it myself that way, right? For however I get met and all I'm doing is fine tuning my energy to being a vibrational match for whatever it is. And just to take a quick moment, because I think we hear, at least I'm going to assume we hear those terms, be a vibrational match. We don't necessarily fully understand, like we have an idea of what that means, but we don't stop to really understand what that means. And when we recognize that we are vibrating at a specific frequency, we are energy, and energy is measured in vibration, like the amount of the speed in which we vibrate. And so when we recognize that I am a vibrational being, I am vibrating at a particular frequency, then I can start to understand that if everything has a frequency, which is the rate at which that vibrates at, then it makes more sense that if I start to shift my frequency to vibrate at the frequency in which I want, then those things are just going to come into my life in a very easeful way. They're just going to, there's like, yes, a magnetic effect, but it's more just like I'm now in the same pool of where all of these things exist. And so it just becomes more normal than if I'm in a really different vibrational state from what I want, then it can feel like it's such a stretch. So that's also part of how these things can start to manifest is when we start to when where we know it's close, when we're like, oh yeah, that's possible. It's totally possible. I don't see why I wouldn't, find something or receive something or get paid a certain amount or whatever it is.
And I like that putting together a couple of things that you said is that you manifest from the feeling and it's a vibrational match for the feeling so that all the things that would feel free for you or feel like a surprise for you or being pampered from the universe for you, all of those things are coming your way. So it
Mhm.
isn't just okay, I have this specific one thing that I desire and it has to look like this and it's got to look exactly like that. It is all these things that are a match for the feeling of this I'm open for.
Yes. Yeah, because we have been taught on some level that we can only focus on one thing at a time. But the truth is, your whole life changes as you change. As your energy shifts, everything around you shifts. So you can expect like all areas of your life to, you know, enhance, if you will.
Yes.
Hmm.
Talk about the duality of manifestation.
Hmm. Well, the duality, I mean, as I said, we're always creating, always. What tends to happen is we forget about our creative abilities, our abilities as creators, until we are in need of something. So when everything is going our way, we kind of forget that we're this vessel for manifestation. And as soon as we start to feel a little bit desperate, desolate, we're like, we're ill, we're out of money, whatever it is, then it's like, oh shoot, ooh, I need to manifest again. Okay, like it does this work, and then the skeptic mind comes up because we've become in this place where we didn't think we would be. And so trying to then create from that place of, and I mentioned this in the beginning, of desperation, that is of a lower vibrating frequency than gratitude and joy, which is open and free and, like, again, not so controlled. So I like to say when you are feeling your best, when you are feeling your most joy, that's when you do those exercises of feeling into, what do I want? What do I want? If you're going to make a vision board, make the vision board in that state. If you are feeling completely desperate right now, feeling trampled on by life, this is not the time to decide what you want and create, in my personal opinion, because it's going to be um, a more challenging road than if you can do something to shift your energy into more gratitude, shake it out, move your body, uh, you know, do something that you love, eat something that you love that can, kind of get you back into, oh yeah, I do. I appreciate like my taste buds. I love this. Like, get into some sort of sweetness of life and then be like, okay, now what do I want? But when we're really like shrouded in our own agony and our own grief and despair, then anything that we're going to be attempting to create in that moment is not coming from this open-hearted, abundant place. It's coming from a place of desperation, and that I find tends to what's the word that I could use? It just muddies the field of perception. So that's when you don't really know what you want. You just feel like I need this because this is my only way that I know out. So I'm going to ask for this specifically. And if it doesn't happen, then I add belief that it's not meant for me, that I'm stuck where I am. So I feel like that is that point of like, does that kind of speak to what you were talking about, or am I off?
No, I'd like to add too to that, that
Hmm.
sometimes where we are, and then, what the emotions that, let's say, we desire to be in. So the desperation, and then on the other side is gratitude. Let's say they're not polar opposites, but further apart, it's really hard to get to the gratitude, right? So you were saying we shift where we are. What I like to add is you can do little shifts to get you there, right? Because let's say
Hmm.
you're angry or pissed off. If you just go to irritated, that's already a change in the frequency from where you were to the next step. And it might be easier for you. You can go from one to the other, but it might be in that moment easier for you to go the next step. Because if you go to gratitude and I'm like, fine, I will try and find something that I am grateful for. Okay, I am grateful for this, whatever. And it's not really gratitude because I am just trying to find it because I think that's what I'm supposed to do, as opposed
Right.
to going to, all right, how can I get to the next step, which is just not all out anger.
Right. And it's so important to feel your feelings and process them in whatever way you need to. So I think that that is a really important clarification. And the what I was speaking to is more like I teach it as like red light, yellow light, green light. It's just knowing where you are and what to do. So if you are in a red light, if you are in like you're frustrated, you're mad, you're angry, then we just know this is not the place of manifestation. This is not where I start my manifestation journey. I don't start like going to the books at that point. It's like you need to be in that, process it, feel it. Don't just bypass it and pretend like everything's fine so that you can, trick yourself into being in a green light zone. It doesn't work like that. It's just really accepting who you are, accepting your process, however long that takes, using the support that you know how to do. Again, shaking, going to see one of us, like helping to shift that energy so that you can move into that place of, okay, green light, I'm feeling good, I'm feeling relaxed, I'm feeling open and free and grateful. Even if I don't have what I want yet, you can still feel joy. I'm experiencing joy in this moment. That's a green light. I'm going to like compound this feeling by adding to what else I want and like dreaming big and moving that energy out of the way so that I can move forward. But yes, when you're in a red zone or even the yellow zone, like moving from anger to irritation, irritation is definitely a step, but knowing when you're in each zone is going to be helpful to kind of know when you can really like go full speed ahead and when obstacles are just going to magically clear out of your way versus it's going to feel harder until you look at whatever you need to look at, whatever, until you process. And again, another caveat to that doesn't mean that you are fully resolved in your trauma and your anger and your grief and all of that in order to manifest. That's not it. There's nuances. I'm sure even when we're, in the deepest heartbreak, there are moments when we find ourselves feeling a little bit lighter. There are feelings of, we laugh and we're like, oh my gosh, I just laughed. I haven't laughed all week. If you're moving through something deep, you're angry, there's still these little nuances throughout the day of you don't feel heavy 100% all the time. So we're just looking for these little breaks. And then we can still revisit. And as you call more things in, then everything again, because this is really important to hear, even when you're in the green zone and you're manifesting, because we are usually raising our vibrational state to receive that which we are wanting to attract, whatever's lower vibrational state, it cannot come to that next room. Again, if we think about it as different rooms, and this is something again that got clarified in like a session I just did yesterday, because I was seeing all of these different rooms with the doors open, but you can't take certain things with you to the next room, right? If we're saying that everything has its vibrational match, if you're holding on to pieces that are going to keep you stuck and not allow you to bring this in, then that needs to be let go of. So everything can be going your way, and you're like, wow, this is happening, this is happening, this is happening. It's effortless, it's easy. And all of a sudden, we have like a confrontation within our own energy. Maybe it's manifesting with someone else, to help us let it go so that we can continue on this journey. Because at some point you got to drop the bags that you're carrying in order to receive more, right? We can't like I want it. Like, how are we going to hold on to it? You need to open those hands, which means you have to let things go. So it's like a very it can be fun, it can be agonizing, it can be so many frustrating, it can be so many things as we start to become this, or step into the pool or the room of the things that we are ready for or wanting. Then we need to let go of the things that are no longer serving us. And that's kind of what that means. It's not going to help you get into the next room where you want to be. And so we need to drop it and let it go. And again, so many different ways to do that: tools, practitioners, trainings, self work, all of the stuff. There's so many things to help do that. But that's really how we let go, is how we can then receive for more.
And I just want to reiterate the importance of what you said about fully feeling whatever emotion is present, and not to bypass or jump because one emotion is better than the other, because they're all equally important. When you're in a state of rage, there's also sacred rage, right? There's also the greatest heartbreak songs ever written in all of time, because, and people resonate with that because that they know what it's like to be there. And so
Mhm.
one of the questions I ask myself when I'm there is, do I need to be here any longer? Like, is there something more wisdom here for me in this state? And if
Mhm.
it is, then I stay to see what the wisdom is. And then oftentimes, if I'm like, no, this is complete, then the next step can occur as well.
Yeah, and do you do any practices like to let go of any other, like the residue? I see it as residue
I like
of
to
those
breathe it
emotions.
out. Yeah, I
Okay.
usually use breath. Movement's really important for me. So I move every single day. I do something that moves me daily. And so
Hmm.
sometimes that has to be like it's a walk or going out in nature, calling a friend, all
Hmm.
many different tools that we have.
I like to shake. I like
That's a
to
good one.
shake. I feel like and this is, it's really simple because you don't need to be a dancer, or you don't have to be able to know how to do things to shake out the body, to really loosen up the joints, loosen up the hips. But again, this has come up in the past couple of weeks, so I really would love to share this with whoever's listening. Is there's so much that I see that gets like sediment stuck in the pelvis and in the joints, but a lot of times it's stuck in the pelvis. So to shake, to shake, to shake just helps to clear that out. If you can shake and then sound at the same time, blah, 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 then it just helps to move things out, because we sometimes we think we need to speak the words all the time, but that perpetuates, that same vibrational story. So shaking and sounding is a great tool, just a couple of minutes a day, even, to just like, okay, let go of anything that came over from yesterday that I might not have realized. And now I can start again and do all of my practices, do whatever, live your life the way you need to. But shaking it out just really helps to shift that. It's just like dusting it off.
Yeah. I like,
Hmm.
Taylor Swift, there's Shake It Off. I like to
Yeah,
dance to that.
there you go. Perfect. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's important to do whatever it is brings you joy. There was this wise voice that came through in the session yesterday. And I won't be able to completely repeat exactly what was said, but it was to the effect that we've been led as society, as human beings, led through a path of suffering. Somehow, if we suffer enough, we'll be granted some sort of justice or prize or, clear path ahead because we've suffered.
Hello?
Living in a state of heartedness. And when we can be in that state of open-heartedness and joyful living, like when think about it right now, the last time that you felt joy, there's a level of effortless that happens when we're in that joyful state, right? And when we're in that level of joy, our energy is just so expansive, so radiant. So if we can follow that, what makes us joyful? What brings us joy? How do we feel joyful? Then we're in this expansive, radiating state where we're interacting with things because we're not afraid, which is closed off, which is controlled, which is like kind of making sure everything's okay in this controlled bubble. And that's harder to receive from because we need to go through the filter of our mind to be like, are you sure? Am I sure? Am I ready for this? Am I like just analyzing all that wants to come through? It's just it's not as open. And so if we can shift our lives into what brings me joy, and again, this is not new, but perhaps just a new like hearing of it, a new way to drop it in right now is like when we are in our joyful state, we are expansive and we are happy. We are bringing those things into us and it gets to just again compound. We get to have more and more and more and more. But when we're sad, when we're in fear, we're really having to double check everything that's coming in, and oftentimes it stops because our mind is just too much of a paranoid organ to really allow all of these gifts that can come forward.
Beautiful. I have a patient, so we need to finish this conversation.
Yeah.
What is there anything else that you feel like you want to say in this moment to wrap us up?
What you speak, you create. So be very conscious and very intentional about things that you write down and things that you speak, because of course writing is just the speaking of the hand. So as you process things, as you write things, write them as I have this, I'm grateful that I have this. Just know that whatever you speak, you are creating. So be kind to yourself, be loving to yourself, be loving and kind to others, and you will create so much more from that energy and from that place.
Thank you so much. We are
Thank
in
you.
the Lionsgate portal right now. Perfect time for manifestation. May
Mhm.
you all enjoy your manifestation.
Yes. Integrate it and receive it well.
Bye bye.
Thank you. Bye.